Greetings, Earthians. It is time once again to turn your mental energies toward the infinity of the speed of thought. Travel beyond the edge of the known into the realm of weird science fantasy. I think I must have had the same feeling when I awoke that any of you humans would have had, suddenly coming to life after you had deliberately committed suicide. I looked around at the group of angry men armed with scythes, clubs, and guns who had hunted me down in the past 3 days. They had branded me as the killer of Dr. Link, my late creator. Why hadn't they smashed and pounded me into broken wheels and scattered mechanical parts, as they had fully intended? Who had snapped my master switch back on? Then I noticed the blazing-eyed young man facing the muttering armed party. Stop! Thank God I got here just in time to prevent the destruction, the wanton murder of Adam Link, my uncle's intelligent robot. The young man turned suddenly to me. He seemed vaguely familiar. He asked me if I was all right, addressing me as one living entity to another. To use an appropriate expression, as man to man. I am damaged, but I can be repaired. Who are you? I am Thomas Link, Dr. Link's nephew and closest relative. I have been practicing law in San Francisco. I hurried here when I heard of my uncle's death. He left everything to me. My uncle wrote me about you, that you are as rational as any man. The county sheriff shouted angrily at this interference. This thing isn't a man. It's a clever diabolical machine that killed your uncle in cold blood. It's a dangerous monster, and it's my duty to destroy it, as I would destroy a wild tiger loose in this county. I know my rights, Sheriff. That robot was part of my uncle's property. Now it's my property. I'll sue you for willful destruction of my property if you destroy it. Tom Link guided the sheriff to the door. Property? This robot is a moving... No, not living. Well, anyway, it's a creature and... Right, Sheriff. A living creature, not an animal. For animals don't talk. It is a man-like being. Therefore, like any other talking, living man, he is entitled to a court trial. If you want to continue persecution of Adam Link, come back with a warrant for his arrest. I perceived that young Tom Link was a very clever man. He had planned this legal trap. The sheriff left red-faced and baffled, but I too was puzzled. Why have you so completely taken my side, Tom Link? All others, except your uncle, hated and feared me at the first sight. My uncle, if he hadn't died, was fully determined to make you a citizen, Adam Link. Besides, I am your cousin in a way. Blood is thicker than water, you know. No play on words was intended, I knew. Tom was utterly sincere. But later, as he was examining his uncle's effects, I saw him glance up at me queerly from time to time. I know what he's thinking, wondering, am I really harmless? He's not sure yet. Not really. Was my uncle wrong, perhaps? Am I wrong? Is he a monster? While Tom was busy, I repaired myself, straightening a twisted knee swivel damaged by a bullet, welding a broken muscle cable, replacing my battery. In a few hours I had gone through what would correspond in a human to months of surgery and convalescence. It is very convenient having a metal body. Now to look for Terry. Terry, Dr. Link's faithful dog, had been shot by the posse accidentally while following me. I found his poor, half-decayed body in the woods. I buried him in the backyard, thinking of his joyous bark and the playful times we'd had together. Terry. Forgive me, Adam Link. I was doubting you all afternoon. Doubting that you could be as nearly human as my uncle had claimed. I'll never fail you again. The next day, Sheriff Barkley returned, shamefaced but determined, with a warrant for my arrest. I feel like a fool, but it, is under arrest. It'll be a farce holding a trial for a robot that ought to be smashed into junk. Suppose you let a jury decide that, Sheriff. Come, into the truck they brought, Adam. A curious crowd watched as I was paraded up the courthouse steps. They were silent, awestruck, and in every face I saw lurking fear, instinctive hatred. I had the feeling that I was an outcast, doomed in one way or another. The scene in the courtroom was, as the sheriff had predicted, a sort of solemn farce. Tom, however, was jubilant as they read the indictment. Adam Link is hereby charged with the murder of Dr. Charles Link. Good. Don't you see, Adam? With your name entered in the record as a defendant, you now have human status, with all of its rights and privileges under law. You are no longer a machine, but a man, legally. Of the two newspaper reporters present, one kept staring at me wonderingly. He came close to me, unafraid. Unafraid. I saw the question in his eager young face. Yes, I am intelligent, and I am innocent. I believe you, Adam Link. I am on your side. Later, formally locked in a cell with Tom gone, I felt suddenly alone, hemmed in by enemies. Would I ever come out alive? I brooded. But Tom returned, waving a document. Habeas corpus. This writ frees the person of Adam Link, whether he has the body of a robot or an elephant. I know the law. Release him. But it's, technically, it's different. I claim. The bailiff argued hotly. I could not understand such human circumlocutions. Impatiently I grasped the bars of my cell door and jerked. It came off with a grind of metal. I do not like being in a cage. Can we go, Tom? What the? Good heavens, he's going to kill us! Adam, no! My impulsive act was a mistake. Tom led me from the jail. Displaying your machine power was the worst thing you could do, Adam. People must accept you as a fellow mind. See how they run in blind fear now? We must change all that. Thereafter, in the time before the trial, Tom deliberately exposed me to public gaze all over the city. Let them get used to seeing you as a harmless metal man, Adam. We must win public opinion to our side. I'm afraid it will always be the same, Tom. They fear me. Children, however, proved more adaptable. They took to following me, tossing stones, singing their childish chants. You're nothing but a tin can. You're nothing but a tin can. People cannot fear and laugh at the same time, Adam. Perhaps. But the hope that the children's ridicule of me would stem the tide soon faded. In a library, while Tom consulted legal books, readers stared at me, paled, and quietly left. Newspaper editorials were particularly unkind, denouncing me daily. Perhaps they were more mercenary than vindictive, but it sold newspapers. They crucified me, inflamed human minds against me. One editorial writer denounced the denouncers, probably that young reporter I'd seen in court. I had 2 friends now, 2 out of the 50,000 in the city, 2 out of the millions who had read about me and promptly were my enemies.
Are we children, afraid of the dark? Is there one shred of proof as yet that Link's robot is a menace of any kind? Have we forgotten that guilt must be proven, and that he is innocent until then?
There was one thing that happened in those 2 weeks. The fire. The tenement pouring smoke and flame. In the excitement, I became of secondary importance. People crowded at my side, hardly aware of me. When it was thought that all had been rescued, 2 screaming faces appeared on the 7th floor.
Look! They can't even jump! They'll burn to death! Good Lord, no.
I bellowed, and the crowd melted before me. I dashed into the hissing flames, my metal body feeling no pain. I raced up the stairs with all the speed and power at my command, reaching the 7th floor just in time. The stairs collapsed behind me. Can't go back that way. I found the 2 still figures, a young man and a young woman, on the floor of their smoke-filled room. I threw them over my shoulders. If I could reach the roof in time. Once on the roof, escape resolved itself into one uncertain avenue, leaping across to the next building, a distance I automatically estimated to be 30 feet. I took a long run, and if I'd have failed, it would have meant a drop of more than 100 feet to a concrete courtyard below. But a moment later, I was standing over the 2 bodies, looking back at the flaming building that might have been a funeral pyre. I carried the 2 forms down the fire escape, laid them safely in the courtyard, and rejoined Tom, only to find myself in a new situation.
Good God, Adam. Where have you been? When you bellowed and leaped away so suddenly, everyone thought you'd gone wild. The crowd has been murmuring against you. Hurry! An enraged mob could do anything!
I picked up Tom in my arms and raced for our car. I drove the car myself, away from the threatening people in the city. I told Tom what I'd done when he noticed the soot marks on my metal body.
You risked your own life, and no one saw it.
The irony of it.
If there'd been one witness, you'd be a hero.
The eve before the trial, Tom seemed worried, depressed. An older lawyer called, and my sensitive tympanums picked up his advice.
Give up this preposterous case, Tom. You'll lose. Blast your professional career. Is a robot a mere mechanical contrivance worth such sacrifice?
And Tom's firm answer, yes, risking his whole career for me. Tom makes up for all the other humans, my bitter enemies. The day of the trial came. I will not go into detail. So much has already been written of the event. Adam Link, defendant, faced a judge, a prosecutor, a jury, and a jammed courtroom, and saw only hostility and hatred. Only Tom was on my side. One man. No, 2. The reporter waved a greeting to me from a press box. That helps. A little. After an endless turmoil of questions, witnesses, evasions, and half-truths, the prosecutor called me to the stand.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Your name?
Adam Link. Then the prosecutor fired questions at me in rapid succession. I answered quickly, truthfully, the whole truth, as I'd sworn. But it was so unfair, so obviously misleading.
Adam Link, you're a machine.
Yes,
You're strong.
yes,
You could kill any human being with your metal hands.
yes, of course.
You could, in fact, kill 12 men with 12 blows.
Yes, but of course I was allowed to say no more. The ghastly image was left in the jury's mind. Tom was sweating when he tried to wipe out that picture, tried to bring out my human-like emotions, thoughts, reactions.
And, ladies and gentlemen, let me quote my uncle's own words. A man you all respected. Adam is like a loving son, so gentle, so kind, so trustworthy.
Tom's closing speech was eloquent.
Adam Link is human in all but construction. The mind of Adam Link performs as ours does. He thinks as we do. His machine body will serve us as all machines have served us. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if you find the defendant guilty, you will send an innocent man to his death.
And then the prosecutor summed up for the state in his thundering oratory.
Yes, Adam Link is intelligent, we admit. But so is an electronic brain. Where is his soul, I ask you? That robot is a thing without a spark of human feeling within his cold metal body. Remember, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, upon you rests a grave responsibility. You must protect mankind. There is no room in our world for this Frankenstein.
The jury filed out to decide my fate. Court was recessed. I was taken outside under guard to the adjoining jail building. Tom walked beside me, haggard. Suddenly he whispered fiercely in my ear.
I failed you, Adam. We've lost, I know it. Make a break for it. Run! Run!
No, Tom. If there is no place in your world for me, I will accept it. But suddenly I did run. Then I leaped away, bowling over the 2 police guards. In an electronic flash, I had seen and comprehended tragedy impending in the street. That little boy on roller skates, losing his balance. That car coming. The driver won't have time to stop. All things mechanical integrate instantaneously in my mind, itself a mathematical instrument. Thus, in a fraction of a second, at a speed impossible to humans, I calculated. The boy is falling 20 feet from the moving car. The car weighs, its speed, my weight. I should stand here. I braced myself for the impact. Machine fighting machine with a life at stake. The car's momentum pushed me back 5 feet. 6, 8, 10. My metal feet gouging up the asphalt pavement. The car finally came to a stop. Its motor gurgled to silence. I looked down. My heel had ended up only 6 inches from the child's body. I'd calculated 7. A dead silence hung over the staring crowd. Then, as the boy's mother rushed to pick up her child,
My boy, my baby.
"The jury's back! Bring the prisoner in!" The jury had arrived at its verdict on the first ballot in just a few minutes.
We find the defendant guilty.
Adam Link, I sentence you to death in the electric chair. I am writing this now in my cell. Heavy chains that I cannot break shackle me to the wall. They are not needed. I would not try to escape. I would not want to live in a world that does not want me. It is best, I think, that I pass into the non-existence from which Dr. Link summoned me months ago. My short sojourn in this world has been confusing for the most part. I would never understand or be understood. One curious thought. My epitaph, what will it be? That of monster or man? Once again, we return you to your pre-scheduled mundanity.